Hello everyone. Welcome back to English with AKS. I hope you're all doing well and excited to learn something new today. If you're someone who dreams of speaking English fluently, confidently, and naturally, then this lesson is tailor-made for you. Today, we're diving into a game-changing topic: how to think in English. This skill is one of the most crucial steps on your journey to becoming a fluent English speaker. We've all experienced that frustrating moment when we have to pause, translate sentences from our native language, and then speak in English. This process slows us down, knocks our confidence, and often leads to mistakes. But imagine this. What if you could skip that translation step entirely and think directly in English? Sounds incredible, right? Well, I'm here to tell you, it's possible. By following 4 simple stages, you can train your brain to think naturally in English. And trust me, it will transform the way you speak. Before we begin, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for Simple Spoken English if you haven't already. By subscribing, you'll ensure you never miss our valuable lessons designed to help you speak fluent English with ease. Now let's get into today's lesson: how to think in English. Stage 1. Think in verbs, the power of action words. The first step to thinking in English is focusing on verbs. Verbs are the backbone of any sentence. They describe the actions happening around you. Why start with verbs? Because actions are everywhere. And when you can describe those actions in English, it becomes easier to form sentences in your mind. Let's take an example. Imagine you're walking through New York City, specifically in Central Park. You notice people engaged in different activities. What are they doing? Some are running, others are talking. You might see a dog chasing a ball or someone feeding pigeons. Each of these actions is represented by a verb: run, talk, chase, feed. By observing the actions around you, you can begin to think about them in English. And the beauty of this technique? You can practice it anywhere. Whether you're standing at a bus stop in London, waiting at a traffic light, or enjoying a cup of coffee in a Parisian cafe, there's always something happening. For example, on a bustling street in Tokyo, you might see people walking briskly, someone riding a bicycle, or friends laughing together. Mentally note these actions in English: walk, ride, laugh. What if you're at home, where it's quieter? No problem. You can still practice by imagining scenarios or using pictures. For instance, look at a family picnic photo. What actions do you notice? Perhaps they're eating, playing, or relaxing. Even if you're indoors, you can practice identifying actions by thinking about your routine. Imagine being in your kitchen. You might be cooking, cleaning, or washing dishes. Key practice. Tip: set aside 5 to 10 minutes daily to focus on thinking in verbs. Choose a new place or scenario each day and concentrate on the actions happening around you. With regular practice, your brain will automatically start recognizing and thinking about actions in English. This habit will make describing what's happening much easier and more natural. Stage 2. Think in nouns, naming the world around you. Once you've mastered thinking in verbs, it's time to shift your focus to nouns. Nouns are essential. They name people, places, things, and ideas. Just like verbs, nouns surround us. Everything you see has a name, and by identifying these in English, you'll take another big step toward thinking and speaking fluently. Let's explore this with an example. Picture yourself standing near the Sydney Opera House in Australia. As you look around, you notice the building, harbor, tourists, boat, and seagulls. Each of these is a noun. Practicing this technique is simple. You can do it anywhere. For example, at a market in Delhi, India, you might spot fruits, vegetables, spices, and vendors. Or, if you're relaxing at home, look around and identify items. Perhaps a table, chair, book, or laptop. Another fun exercise is to describe the items you carry with you. What's in your bag? Maybe you have a phone, keys, and a wallet. By naming these objects in English daily, this practice will soon feel like second nature. Over time, you'll notice how much faster and clearer your thoughts become in English. Key practice. Tip: spend a few minutes every day identifying and naming the objects around you in English. Whether you're outdoors, at home, or traveling, challenge yourself to think of everything in English. For instance, if you're in Barcelona, Spain, observe your surroundings: buildings, bicycles, cafes, and tourists. The more you practice, the more naturally your brain will think in English. Stage 3. Think in sentences, connecting verbs and nouns. Once you're comfortable thinking in verbs and nouns, it's time to take the next step: thinking in sentences. This stage helps you connect the dots, combining action words, verbs, and names, nouns, to describe what's happening around you in full sentences. At this stage, it's important to start simple. Focus on creating short, clear sentences that describe what you see. For example, if you're in Cape Town, South Africa, looking at Table Mountain, you might say, "The tourists are climbing the mountain. The sun is shining. The wind is blowing." These sentences are simple, but they help you practice thinking in complete sentences. Now imagine you're in Toronto, Canada, sitting in a park. What's happening around you? You could describe the scene like this: a family is having a picnic. The children are playing with a ball. The birds are flying in the sky. These short sentences effectively describe the scene. Once you're comfortable, you can start making your sentences longer. For example, if you're in Berlin, Germany, walking near the Brandenburg Gate, you might say, "A group of tourists is taking pictures of the monument. Some are listening to their tour guide while others are checking their maps." This approach combines verbs and nouns to give a fuller description of the scene. The goal is to train yourself to think in sentences, not just individual words. This will help you speak naturally without stopping to think about every word. Over time, your brain will automatically form sentences in English. Key practice. Tip: spend 10 to 15 minutes daily describing your surroundings in sentences. Whether you're at home, in the office, or walking in a new city, try forming complete sentences in your head about what's happening. For instance, if you're in a cafe in Rome, Italy, you might say, "The waiter is serving coffee. Two friends are chatting at the next table. A couple is reading a menu." This habit will make thinking in English feel more natural. Stage 4. Think in paragraphs, bringing it all together. The final stage is moving from sentences to paragraphs. This means describing everything around you in detail, telling a story, or creating a vivid picture of a scene. Imagine you're visiting the Great Wall of China. You could describe it like this: "I'm standing on the Great Wall, and the view is breathtaking. The mountains stretch out endlessly, and the wall winds across the landscape. Tourists are everywhere, taking pictures and walking along the wall. I can hear people speaking different languages, and a cool breeze is blowing. The steps are steep, and the stone is worn from centuries of use." In this paragraph, you've combined verbs, walking, speaking, nouns, tourists, mountains, wall, and sentences to describe the scene. Practicing this will help you think in English more naturally. Instead of forming short sentences, you'll describe things in full detail. Let's try another example. Imagine you're walking through a bustling market in Istanbul, Turkey. You might describe the scene like this: the market is crowded with people, all shopping and bargaining with vendors. I can smell spices in the air, and the bright colors of rugs and textiles catch my eye. A man is selling tea from a cart, and tourists are taking photos. The sound of laughter and conversation fills the air, creating a lively, energetic atmosphere. By thinking in paragraphs, you train your brain to describe events and scenes in full detail without translating from your native language. This is essential for expressing yourself fluently and naturally. Here's one more example. Imagine you're in a cozy cafe in Amsterdam, Netherlands. You could describe it like this: I'm sitting at a small table by the window, sipping coffee. The cafe is warm and inviting, with soft music playing in the background. Outside, people are riding bicycles along the canal. The sky is cloudy and it looks like it might rain. Inside, a few people are reading, and a couple is quietly chatting over breakfast. The smell of fresh bread fills the air, and the atmosphere is calm and peaceful. In this paragraph, you've combined all the elements, verbs, nouns, and sentences to create a vivid picture. This is the final stage of thinking in English, where you describe situations in detail, just like in your native language. Final thoughts. The road to fluency. Learning to think in English is a journey that takes patience and practice. The more you engage with the language, the more natural it will feel to think, speak, and express yourself in English. By following the 4 stages, verbs, nouns, sentences, and paragraphs, you'll build a strong foundation for fluency. Consistency is key. Practice every day, even for a few minutes, and you'll see steady improvement. Mistakes are a normal part of learning, so don't let them discourage you. Every mistake is an opportunity to grow. Are you ready to take the next step in your English learning journey? Start practicing today, and soon you'll be thinking in English like a native speaker. Thank you for joining today's lesson on Simple Spoken English. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a lesson. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next session.